Welcome, creators, to The Disruptors, Illuminate Your Frequency podcast. It's in the disruption of the luminescence that matter is created. Content with content. Yes, it's a play on words, and you can pronounce it any way you want. But the concept that I want to speak about today is being happy with the content that we are putting out there. And whether you are someone who does produce content on a consistent level, whether it's personally or professionally, are you content with the content that you put out there? We can produce content for so many different reasons. We can do it because we just want to show people who we are. We may want to share a message. We could be trying to promote our business. We could try to be showing others how we have learned something, how we have moved something. We could purely just be using it in order to gain clients or find new customers or sell something to them. Whatever way we put that content out there is going to be a reflection of who we are, even if it is something that's personal and something that is part of our business. Because the way that we create it, the way that we are putting it out there is going to be driven from that energetic standpoint of who and where you are in that moment. And I know that we can often not see that there is still part of us that is the driving force behind the content that we are creating. It's easy to get in the mindset of if you just had a product and you are promoting it to a certain group of people or a target market or a certain area where people will purchase that thing, or you're targeting the ones who you know will be more interested in the product that you're selling, even though you are promoting that product in a way that you believe that person that you are speaking to is going to respond, there's still a level of you behind it. Even if you give it to a professional agency to create your content, it's still a level of you that comes from behind it. And it's not always the way that you present the content or the way that your product is showing. It's that energetic vibration of you behind that. And I'm sure that we don't even think about that when we are creating things like that, when we are so far removed. For anyone sort of in my world, there's a level of understanding with energetics and our attention behind the things that we put out there and the way that we show up. But there is such a deep resonance within our content on social media that truly reflects who we are. I've seen many people on social media with a large following saying that social media, even though it was originally a place for us to share what we're doing in our lives, to keep up with friends and family who may not be in our vicinity, or people that we don't get to interact with on a regular basis, that's how it was originally created, is no longer for just that purpose. Now it is, we are our own brand. We are presenting ourselves in a way that people see and feel the things that we put out there in a way that creates this avatar of who we think they are, or who we think they are trying to present in that online space. So even if you aren't someone who has their own business or doesn't have their own message, even you just posting your social content or the things that you want to share with people is still creating your brand. It's creating an illusion of who you are. And I've seen some very clever content creators create actual personas in that social media realm for particular outcomes. And we can do that. It's similar to watching an actor in a movie. It's creating this identity and presenting and showing up in a way that reflects the character that we have built, that we want people to engage with for whatever purpose, whether it's something where we have this character, we want to monetize on it, or whether it's something where we want it as a jump step into something else. Maybe we want to become a famous presenter or want to work with some of even bigger creators. Whatever it is, you can do that in a way where you are expressing yourself in a way that creates this person to other people. But if you are not one of those people who is purposely creating a particular character or avatar, you are still trying to present yourself out there in a way that you want people to connect with you. Because even if you are showing up online, even if you are creating your content, there is a reason that you are putting it out there. And it may be something super subtle. It could be something that is super intentional, but every time you are posting something, you are requiring a response from someone or something. Even when you just have your own social media channel and you're just posting photos of your holiday, why are you posting photos of your holiday? Sometimes it's because you want other people to see where you are. You want to see what you are doing. Maybe sneakily, subconsciously, you want other people to be jealous of you. Maybe it's a business technique where you were saying, oh, look at me, I'm so successful. I'm having this amazing holiday in this amazing place with all the money that I've earned from doing this thing, and you need to come and join me on the back end, even though you're just posting photos. Or maybe you're one of those people who says that you are posting photos because, oh, I want it to come up in my feed a year later so I can look back at it. You are still doing that for a reason. You are still doing it because you require a response somewhere, somehow, or some idea of something being returned to you when you create that. And there's nothing wrong with that. If we didn't have a reason or a purpose to do something, then we wouldn't be doing very much. Everything we're doing is somehow requiring something to come back to us. So when we're creating content, we can have specific goals and ideas in the way that we create what we look like. So someone like me who has a few different things in the online space, in places where I would love people to engage or to purchase or to come into the things that I have in a paid capacity, the things that I create, I try to not only share the information or the things that I have on offer, but I also try to create a space that allows people to get to know who I am. As we sort of jump out of that old 3D basic mindset and the old school thinking of go to school, go to uni, get a degree, get a job, get married, buy a house, have kids, etc. lifestyle, once you jump out of that and you start moving more into this bigger question and this spiritual journey and whatever words you want to call it, once you jump out of that and you start seeing things in a different light, you will start to understand that in order for you to genuinely connect with other people and to find like-minded people, not just for a business reason, but on an actual energetic and vibrational level, the way that you are going to connect to the people who match to you right now is by you expressing yourself in a way that is true to you. So if I am talking about how I moved through some emotional situation or experience that I reflected on. Maybe it's from the past, and I allowed myself to experience that, and I shared that in some way in the online space. I would connect to other people who maybe felt similar to that. Maybe they were someone who was going through that right now, and they wanted to see how I handled it. They wanted to see how I move through it. Maybe it's someone who doesn't know yet, but they are going to be experiencing that in their actual environment. So what I share is going to connect with people who are going to match to that. If I shared that story, there is not going to be someone who's going to want to listen to it if they have no interest in that topic, no interest in the journey of it, no interest in any of those pieces of that conversation. It doesn't mean it has to just be that situation. Like, people can still connect with you just because maybe they're a compassionate person. Maybe they're someone who understands the emotion of it, and it's not about the story or the movement through it. It's just compassion for that person. Maybe it's those people who engage with you in order to inspire you to continue more. There will also be the people who will contradict you, the people who may come in, and you could come in and say, well, I experienced this thing and I did that and this is what happened. You will still get people who come in and say, oh, well, you should have done this or you should have done that. And that doesn't mean that they're not matching to that message that you're sharing. It just means they have a different opinion to you. They have another piece of that puzzle that you can add together into that experience, which is going to give you an ability to see more sides of that story, to see that event from a 360 type view, because we can have these lives where we're just moving along and we think that we know and we understand everything about a situation because we experienced it, but we're only experiencing it through the eyes of our own experience. We don't see the other versions of that. We don't see the other motions of that. We don't see what happens when you do the opposite of what you did, or you do something totally differently. So sending your awareness out there through your content allows so many different ways for it to connect to the right people in order to help you understand and facilitate that experience, as well as help others or expand others in their mindset and the way that they want to see that situation, again, in that 360-degree view. So the way that I now want to create content, the way that I want to show up online is in a way that is exactly who I am, because many people can use a situation like that, and instead of speaking from themselves and who they are and what they did and how they moved through it, they could turn that into something that they think may appeal more to the masses. Because I know a lot of the things that I talk about, they're not for the billions and billions of people just yet. A lot of people will skim over that, and maybe some of the words that I use, they'll be like, nope, that's crazy, or that's ridiculous concept, whatever it is. But there are people who will turn those situations, ideas, and try to create the content in a way that it's maybe more softened. Maybe it's more, oh, this would appeal to more people if we added this component. Maybe we could embellish this story a little bit. Maybe we could just turn that into some sort of marketing example, or turn it into some sort of offer that we can sell, or some sort of series. There's so many ways that we can use our physical experience, the things that we actually know and see, in order to create different types of content based on who we are. yes, we can speak from who we are, and yes, we can twist it to make it more universally appealing to people. But again, that is going to be because you are looking for particular outcomes. The person who is turning that into something that they want it to be mass produced, or something that is more appealing to more people, they may be wanting different results. They want a different outcome to me sharing something under the premise that this is going to reach whoever it needs to reach. And even if it's just words that I'm putting out there that no one engages with, I know that I have expressed that in a way that was authentic to me. It was something that I intuitively felt that I needed to express in that way, knowing that it was going to be received is exactly as it needs to be received. And this can be contradicting to the way that the many marketing strategies are out there, because there are particular ways in which you can be taught and you can learn how to gain more following or more views in the online space, the way to create your content in a way that it's going to appeal to others, a way that you were going to find a bigger engagement, the way that you are going to get more people into your world. And I myself have struggled between those two worlds of seeing the way that everyone is doing it and seeing the results with those high numbers, and thinking that, well, if it worked for them, I need to be doing it that way, versus, but hang on, I want to be authentic to myself, and I don't want to create it in that way. I want to do it my own way. I don't want to be posting every day. I don't want to be tied to a timetable and put this out there at this time, or edit my words or spell things differently. Last time I checked, I thought I had some sort of freedom of speech where I was able to speak what I wanted. Why am I toning myself down in order for a computer algorithm to put my message in front of more people? Am I not this energetic being who's responsible for my own life and creates the things around me in my own way? We can get caught up between those two worlds. The way that I am finding that is working for me is, without knowing all the strategies and the ideas and the multitude of ways that the successful people are creating their content, are just like with every other category of our life, are just tools. And it's the same with creating content. You can line up 10 creators and they will tell you 10 different ways on how to get a bigger following. So there is no clear-cut way for you to create this perceived success of having these big numbers. However, we still need to know and understand what the algorithms do, how the platforms work, how it works for us, and arm us with as much knowledge as we can, and then use it in the way that we can then create our own way to create the things we want online, to express ourselves and show up online in a way that works for us. So it's finding that balance between the two, because you are not going to come straight out and suddenly be someone who wants to promote themselves and express themselves and be more seen on social media if you have no clue how to do anything. Yes, you can learn the long way and the hard way, but if you arm yourself with some of those skills and some of those ideas and start to try them out, you are going to start to find the way that things work for you. There is no hard and fast rule to creating content. And this is definitely something that I've learned, that is the the baseline to every single thing, that there's no rules to any of it. There's no hard and fast rules to losing weight or saving money or creating a successful business. It's arming yourself with as much knowledge, as many tools as you can, and then try stuff out. Because in that process of trying things out and seeing how they feel for you, seeing how they work out for you, seeing which ones are fun, which ones are time consuming, which ones do you just flat out did not like. And as you get to do that, you'll start to find a way that works for you. You will start to find, oh, I like doing this, or oh, this is really fun. And this will constantly change because we are constantly changing. I will say this over and over. We cannot stick ourselves into this one little space and say, this is it, this is my ideas, this is what I'm doing, and a discussion, full stop, because we are constantly evolving. Our cells are constantly changing. That we are physically changing, we are mentally changing, we are emotionally changing. Everything in this world is constantly growing. Everything's changing. So we just grow with the movement. We move through those things with whatever we can find, with the knowledge that we give and the people that we connect to, so that we can create it in a way that works for us. And it's like with anything, you start with using what you have. What knowledge do you have right now? Use that and grow. What tools do you have right now? Use that and grow. And it's that constant expansion into that deeper awareness and knowing that allows you to get that growth after consistency and time. There is a balance between the consistency towards trying something new and being stuck in a routine. And there's no way I can tell you what that is for you. But for me, as someone who has always wanted to jump and flip and flop and cross over here, cross over there, and change their mind consistently, I don't always, or haven't in the past, allowed the idea or the path that I was on to permeate to its full evolution. There's obviously a few things that I have, but most of the time you get this grand idea, you start writing all these steps, you start creating a plan, you start doing the things, and then at some stage it's, yeah, I'm going to go do something else. And you start it again. But you haven't allowed that original idea to grow. And as these stardust particle pieces, we need that magnetism, that velocity of that experience and the way that we build up that momentum in order for whatever that original thing was to come into fruition. But if we keep stopping it, we're never going to fully get there. We're going to come up with multitude of ideas and ways that we can do things. And there's never going to be one right way. We just have to allow that process to build up in a way so that we can try and get to that next point, that we can get to that original goal that we had set, or that original idea. And yes, it will expand, it will change, it may put you on a totally different path, but we have to be aware that, are we just stopping because we want to create something new, or are we knowing that this is what I'm supposed to be doing now? And that's something that will come with time, but really giving something a period of time where you can allow it to sort of grow. I have now decided that, because of my only recent discovery a few months ago about how our blood and our skin regenerates after 120 days, I try to loosely use that as my basis. If I come up with a new plan and a new idea, I am going to allow it to grow in that 120-day period. And obviously we can change, it's not locked in, but instead of just doing something for a week and flipping, oh, here's another idea, here's another idea, here's another idea, I'm giving it time to grow. Like we know, look at plants, look at babies, they don't They don't grow overnight. You have to give it a bit of space. You have to give it that breathing room. So it's the balance between you and your message and the authenticity of who you are, your end goal, what you want, what do you want to receive, arming yourself with the knowledge and the tools of what you can find in that moment, working with what you have, using what you have, expanding on that, and then sticking to it for a period of a time to allow it to gain that momentum and to grow and expand in the way that it needs to. Because when you mix all those things together, you will become content with your content, because you will know that you are not being forced into a strategy that doesn't feel good. You are not stifling your message for the masses so that you can appeal to certain people. You are giving something enough breathing space for it allowed to grow, and you're allowing it to expand in whatever way it needs to without giving it a full stop and saying, this is the end, this is how it has to be, and I'm not finishing until it's done. You're giving it that openness. This allows you to be fully content with it all, because you are finding a way that works for you. You are allowing that information to come in, and you are trying those things out. You are doing different things. You are working on it in a way that you know is good for you, because I can tell you, when you are creating content, and I really think this is going to become more and more part of our future, is being able to show up in the authentic state of who we are, so we can connect with other like-minded people in whatever capacity we want to. So we need to really be in a place where we can accept the way that we're showing up and how we show up, and being open to adapting to that as things change, because it is going to change. It's going to constantly change. And with the introduction of AI, there are so many tools at our fingertips that we can now use to help us. Whether you want to or not, it's up to you. But because of that function, because of the facility of what these AI tools can do, the rapid expansion in our content creation is going to grow so fast that if you aren't in it on some level, you are going to fall over by everyone rushing past you. And the only way then that you are going to be able to stand out and to be seen and to share your message is to be authentic. But you need to be authentic and understand how these platforms work, understand how the content works for you, understand how showing up, what it means for you, how to get your message out. Because I can tell you, if you start following or creating in a way that isn't aligned with you, you will hate it, you will stop, you will never get anywhere, you will say that it sucks, I'm not doing this, I'm over it, I'm done, and you will give up, because it won't be part of the way that you want to do it. It won't be something that should be just like having a conversation with someone. If you are just trying to create your content in a way that it is your message and who you are, it shouldn't be any more difficult than you just having a conversation, because social media is literally just a digital representation of a conversation you would have with an actual person. If you walked up to a person and started speaking, that's easy. But if you wanted to do that same thing online, there's all these steps, there's all these schedules and templates and editing and typing and filming, and it can become like, oh my God, what do I have to do all this stuff just to say this thing? And you don't. You can find ways that can become fun. You can just literally speak like I'm speaking now, like you would speak to a human, and make that the way that you create content. It's just all those other pieces around it are just part of the fun. To me, adding the videos, adding music, doing sort of weird things is part of the fun. It's a little bit more than just having a conversation, but sometimes it's really fun to create, because then it comes back to our whole creativity and the way in which our coded frequency, the artist within ourselves is the archetype that wants us to create. So if we are using our voice and we're adding creativity to it, we're just adding another layer of that illumination of who we are, so that we can truly show up in a way that is 100% us in that moment. And that's all we can do. So I would love for you to look at your content, and if you were content with the way that you were showing up, are you doing things that you think you have to be doing? Or are you doing things because it's fun for you? Are you doing things with a specific goal in mind? Are you creating a different persona in order to receive a different result? Have a look at the way that you are creating. See if there are ways that you can bring it more back to you. Could you arm yourself with more tools? Could you try some new things out? There's a whole world out there of free information and creators who can show you so many ways to do things. So if you are looking for more information, just look on your favorite platform. Just search out those people who are doing things that you like. Have a look at the creators that you love. What platforms do you love the most? Which creators are really making a name for themselves? Which ones are creating videos that you like? Can you do that? Can you do posts like that? Can you create graphics like that? That's how we expand our mind. It's not that we're locking into that. It's not that we're selling out by getting that information. We're just using it for now as something that we work with until we have those skills enough under our tool belt where we can start creating on our own. I'm embarking on a whole new little arm of creation, which is where it will just be focused on short video creation. And that will be something that we can use then for Facebook and Instagram Reels, for your YouTube Shorts, and for TikTok, as well as so many other things. It's not limited just to those social media platforms. You can use it as your sales pages. You can use it as messages for people. You can put it in your emails. You can put it on your website. There's a whole plethora of things you can do with short videos. So I'm setting up a whole new Facebook group, website, free course, and paid course in order to really help you work out how to create short videos that work for you, not in the way that you think you have to be doing, but giving you the tools and the understanding to really find your message in the way that you want to show up, but pair that with the knowledge that is out there that you have access to in order for you to create in the way that feels good, feels fun, and will ultimately get exactly what the results are that you're looking for. So if you're interested, I'll put some details in here. It's all just in the setup phase. But honestly, go look at your content and see if you are content with your content. And that's it for another epic dose of Disruptors Illuminate Your Frequency podcast.